Hey, what is up, y'all? Welcome back to a new video. Right after the ML Luna video, we got the Brain Age music in the background because this is gonna be a pretty technical one. I want to answer some questions about the viability of New Moon Luna. There is a lot of debate going around right now whether she's either mid or broken. It's kind of like there's no in between. Like people either say she's like pretty mid or like insanely broken. I want to clarify essentially that debate and just give my thoughts on why I think she's completely broken. But I will also mention why people think she's mid. So let's just get started right away. I mean, you already saw my ML Luna. She's on a speed build, right? She's 320 essentially. And this is essentially what we call a cleave New Moon Luna. She's not on immunity. She has no HP. She's just full speed. I literally went to manage equipment and I literally just did this. And I called it a day. Like this, and then this, and then that's my build. Like that's literally all you have to do. And the reason why this works is because she has a ignore silver and ER, right? She doesn't need effectiveness. She could just do this and pop her on book, and then she does her job. The point of a cleave New Moon Luna is to essentially, like, I mean, the word cleave is literally in it, right? To beat the team in one rotation. Now, I will say, this is a pretty big disclaimer. In an aggro setting, right? In an aggro setting where you pick her in immunity, with immunity, on a, like a, let's say 300 build with lots of HP, I don't think that Luna build is that good. And the reason for it is because Luna needs follow-up. The reason why she needs follow-up is because there's too many cleansers in the game that if you don't have guaranteed follow-up, the cleansers are just gonna go and cleanse everything. That's the main debate people are talking about, right? Let's say stuff like Mediator Cowric, Laya, Aades, stuff like that, right? Where if you don't have a bridge, then those cleansers can go and take the turn in B4, and then you cleanse off essentially everything that you debuffed. So in an aggro setting like that, it's kind of hard to make use of her, because you don't have a guaranteed way to stop the cleansers from doing what they want to do. If you don't have a Requiem Roana, if you don't have an Eternal Wanderer Ludwig, Politis, Ada, Ezra even, then you're essentially playing a Ran without follow-up. Now think about that for a second. If you're playing Ran with a bunch of bruisers like Candy and like Laya and Abyss Leafine, etc, etc, of course Ran isn't going to be doing that good on Procs RNL, of course. Because he goes and defense breaks the whole team, but then you don't have a bridge after. And their cleanser can just go in between and cleanse everything that Ran did. It's essentially the same argument with New Moon Luna, where if you don't have follow-up, then her value drops immensely. So that's why people are saying she's mid in an aggro setting. But in a cleave setting, her weaknesses are essentially covered all the way, where she no longer has to worry about cleansers. She no longer has to worry about these units that can cut CR because of Politis and Requiem Roana. That combo together with New Moon Luna is the reason why I think she's so broken. So let's just do some math real fast. Like this, we might get into really technical territory here, but just stick with me, okay? So first things first. Why does Requiem Roana beat all the cleansers? The reason why she beats all the cleansers is because of two reasons. One, she is, I mean, you see the build here. She has 300 effectiveness, right? Essentially, that's way too much effectiveness for any cleanser to resist her S3. Her S3 pushback and turn reset. So, stuff like Sage Ball, Aades, any cleansers that rely on, you know, like cutting in front, Roana can just automatically deal with it because of her effectiveness being extremely high. So ER becomes a useless stat versus Roana. Secondly, if you look at her S2 passive, she gains 100% CR on top of where she started at. So what that means is let me just go into like a regular arena battle to showcase this. Okay, I will use Poultice as an example here. So we know Poultice cuts CR in half, right? So Roana's not going to actually take the turn. But then I just want to prove my point here. So I'm not going to actually try in this one. I'm just going to like do this and show you what I'm talking about. So remember, Roana gets 100% CR at the beginning of the turn, right? But then it obviously is going to get cut in half by Poultice. So let's take a look at the CR. So 50 plus 22 is 72, right? So she starts off at 22 CR. Which means if there's no Poultice, she's essentially at 122% CR. So if you want to cut a Requiem Roana, not only do you have to cut 319 speed on the Luna, you have to cut 22% in front of that as well. So stuff like Soul Consolation, that only pushes up, I think what, 16%, I believe? 16%, right? On top of the 20%, that's what, 36% CR? So unless your Aades is, hold on, what's 36 minus 22? 14, right? So unless your Aades is within 14% CR of my New Moon Luna, which is like absurd, right? That means your Aades has to be like almost 300 speed, or like close to 300 speed essentially. Then your Aades is not going to cut at all. Because Roana is still going to take the turn, even if you're on Soul Consolation. Now, we're going to talk about... Let's say you ban the Roana, right? Hold on, let me go back to my heroes. Oh, also, for Aades, right? Or like any CR cutter, their base speed is like atrocious. Like, this is my Aades that I use against ML Polies. She's 248, and this is what, 17, 16, 14, 16, 15, right? Like, pretty decent speed, but then she also needs a shit ton of ER, right? But then it's like, even let's say you have like, what, 25, like 25, 25, 25, 25. Like, you're not gonna give Aades that good speed gear, and even if you did, she'd probably still get cut by a Roana, because she wouldn't even be 300 at that point. So, Aades versus Roana is a losing matchup, 100%. See, that goes for any cleanser as well. DJB, Mediator Coweric with Warhorn, like anything that tries to cut CR, Sage Ball, is an automatic losing matchup versus Roana. Now, the other argument people were saying is, what if you just ban Roana, right? Well, let's say you ban Roana, but my draft is Poultice plus Ilwig, because that's usually how my draft is. My Luna draft is Knockwool plus Poultice plus Luna plus Ilwig plus Roana. And let's say you ban the Roana. Then, if that's the case, then we get to play with Eternal Wanderer Ludwig plus Poultice. Now, as I mentioned previously, Poultice cuts CR in half. So, what originally was a 36% CR boost for your Aades, or any unit that like tries to push up, it automatically gets reduced to 18%. Now again, Eternal Wanderer Ludwig is a 20% CR boost on his what was it? This passive right here? Or not really a passive, but you know what I mean, right? He gets a 20% CR boost, which is more than what Aades will get even with Soul Consolation. A max Soul Consolation, by the way, because of Poultice's CR cut passive. So unless your Aades is faster than 266 and even higher because it's 2% CR less, then Eternal Wanderer Ludwig is still gonna cut you. And again, it's already like hard as shit to get like a 270 Aades because she's base 100 speed. That's like getting a base, or that's like getting a 270 speed DDR. Do you guys remember when DDR was on Soul Consolation for a couple weeks? Even those DDRs were not on 270 because his base speed is just way too low. So you can't really pick cleansers versus a team like this just because there's too much CR and there's too much momentum. So yeah. Now the other thing people are talking about is playing some sort of tank down But with tank down with Laya, my bad, let me clarify that. Tank down with Laya. So essentially how that draft is supposed to work is you pick like a bunch of mitigators, or like maybe 1 or 2, and then like try to tank down the hit from the Iwig, and then let Laya live, because the goal is for Laya to survive and cleanse everything. Well, unfortunately, that's not really gonna work either, just because there's 2 reasons. Noctwell plus Rowana. I mentioned this in my last video where I first picked Noctwell with Rowana, right? Like somewhere down the later of the draft. Laya can only reduce her turn cooldown by 1 turn. She can't reduce it by 2 turns. So Noctwell plus Rowana makes it so Laya can't cleanse anything. She also can't dual attack because everyone is binded at that point. So if everyone's binded, she can only drag herself and it's not going to do any damage because obviously it's just a Laya S1, right? So let's say you ban either the Noctwell or the Rowana, and then you try to just tank the Eternal Wanderer Ludwig down. Well, if that's the case, not only do you have to try to tank down an Eternal Wanderer Ludwig that has full Soulburn stacks, you also are not going to have your mitigation passive. You're only going to have Aureus active because of Luna's seal, where she seals the mitigation off of Albedo, stuff like Carmen, all that stuff. It's not going to work. So, even on top of that, Noctwell and Rowana, if you're cleaving, they're going to be on defense break artifacts. Like this, for example, this one I'm running on my Noctwell. She has 2 chances to debreak on her S3, S2, right? On the Laya. And then so you can just burn everything onto the Laya and then get a defense break and it's over. Same with Rowana. Rowana, you don't have to S3. Right? Because if you're playing a mitigation team, you don't really care about reset. You just have to kill the threat, right? Kill the one threat on the team. Like you saw in my last video where I S1'd the Laya instead of S3'ing. Just because all I had to do was kill their main threat, which was Laya, and then it would just collapse their whole team. So you can just S1 there. And then defense break, and then Iwig just wipes the rest of the team. And it doesn't even have to be Noctwell, like... Noctwell is just, I just like picking Noctwell because it baits in a lot of stuff like Laya and like not Candy, what's her name? Elena. Stuff that has like Moon Bunny, you know, units that rely on their passives, right? So Luna just shuts that down, which is why I like picking Noctwell first. But you can even pick stuff like Ran here, right? Where Ran can just essentially act as the debreaker for your Ludwig. But I mean, again, you can just mix and match. You won't have the turn reset though, so you have to like keep that in mind. Anyways, now I want to show you guys the games that I had. I played a little bit longer after the video. I did play against some Lunas. I didn't forfeit those just because people were saying, how do you counter like Luna? Again, there's 2 ways, right? Let's look at this match, for example. Here, this is not where I would consider Luna to be good. Because, look, he has 0 bridges here, right? Nothing takes a turn after his thing goes. So if I just pick Laya, he just seals the whole team and just cleanse with Laya. But this is not why I think Luna's good. This is why people say she's mid, which I agree with. You need follow-up with her. That's the biggest takeaway from this. Luna is not an aggro character. She's a cleave character. She's essentially another Ran. She's not meant to be used the same way as Noctwell or ML Poly. People need to understand that difference where units like Ran and Luna, they can't really be used outside of cleave. It's pretty hard because you need the correct follow-up to make use of it, right? So that's where that argument stems from. Yeah, essentially you can literally just play tank down against this team, like with Laya plus Albedo or Carmen or whatever, and then just go from there. Obviously, I'm a turn 1 player, so I just speed contested it. I just outsped the Luna with Ran, and then I just went from there. Which is, in my opinion, the most effective way to beat Luna. I think there was another one. Oh no, this is... Yeah, I cooked with... Like, again, look, see here. My team has 0 damage, right? But I just controlled this whole team with Noctwell, Rowana, and Ezra. I have, like, what, 6 debuffs with Ezra plus Noctwell plus Luna. And then Rowana with a turn reset, right? So eventually they just keep lapping over and over and over and over and over again, and everything eventually dies. Like this, like, look at it. He has a Carmen, Laya, and an Aades. You're probably thinking, oh, like, he could just take this team down. No, you can't. You get controlled. This match, I think I got outsped. Yeah, it wasn't even a Luna game. My pair is slow, so what can you do? Again, we outsped. We just cleaved it. Like, that's really, for me, the best counter to Luna is just Rand cleaving it, essentially. Because since she's 5 base speed slower, most people are not going to have the speed gear to contest the Rands. Most people. So that's why I just like picking Rand there. There's some other matches here, but yeah, probably just like... I mean, these are the matches from the last video, right? Again, we just... yeah, just some other stuff. I think that was the only games I fought. I guess this one too, yeah, so we just cleaved Luna again. But yeah, I hope seeing this now, it kinda paints a bigger picture as to why New Moon Luna is broken in Cleave specifically, not in aggro, but in Cleave. Again, if you guys have questions or comments that you want me to clarify on, you can definitely let me know. Now, what do I think, besides outspeeding, is the best way to counter a Cleave Luna? So I've been thinking about this for a couple hours after my video came out. How do we beat a New Moon Luna if they pre-ban Zeo Belly and they're cleaving? Essentially, how do you beat the draft I used without committing to speed gear? It's pretty hard to explain, and I don't know if it works 100%, but you can try it for yourself. Essentially, what do you have to do? I know it sounds pretty stupid, but you have to ban protect your AU Fiend, I think. Like this guy. Well, except if I had Luna, right? So, every Luna player, if they have I mean, it's not gonna work if you have Politis, or you have to play to like ban Politis or something. It's kind of cope, I'm not gonna lie, but you can test it yourself. Essentially how it works is you force them to not be able to pick Requiem Roana. Because the reason why is if you pick Requiem Roana, then you can't pick any cleansers. All the cleansers that you can think of are off the table. I already mentioned earlier why Requiem Roana beats all those cleansers already. So you pick Abyssal U Fiend or a Politis on the ban protection slot, so they're forced to unable to use Roana. And the reason why that works is because Roana gets her CR push before Luna presses S3, right? We already saw that. So Luna also doesn't get an extra turn. So what that means is if you put Roana in the back or like anywhere except the front, you put Luna in the front, right? Roana will never take a turn until Luna takes her second turn because of Abyssal U Fiend. Which means Roana is useless versus cleansers, right? So essentially what I'm saying is if you're fighting a Luna Cleave team, you ban protect the AU Fiend or the Politis, and you have to pick 2 cleansers after on the 4th and 5th. So it has to be Laya plus something else. Laya plus like Aades, Laya plus Moon Bunny. I don't know. Laya plus like I have no idea, but it has to be something where you can take advantage of the fact that Roana can't S3, or they can't pick Roana at all, because Luna only has 1 turn, so Roana will never take her turn. However, the flip side of that is the other person, the person that's playing the Luna team, they can put someone else in the front, like let's say a Knockhole, right? And then use the Knockhole to push up the Roana instead. But then that's where your other cleansers come in, where if you have something like an Aades, where she can cut in between the Luna and the Knockhole, then that's where the value is right there. Maybe not Laya, because Laya doesn't have a CR pushing up artifact, but Aades for sure, right? She can fit in that slot between Laya, or between Knockhole plus and Luna, right? Because of the Abyssal U Fiend being there. the other thing you also have to consider is if you're doing that, you have to ban Politis if they pick Politis, because Politis cuts your CR, right, in half. So that means if Politis is in the game, then you won't be able to use your cleansers to cut in front, obviously. It's not going to be enough. So, in short, you ban protect the AU Fiend and pick 2 cleansers that can cut in between. Like Aades for sure should be one of them. And then you play to ban the Politis, because to beat a cleave team, all you have to do is just cut. If you cut the cleave team, then you win. It's really, really simple. You cut the opener and the bridge. And that's essentially what you're doing here. You're cutting the bridge between Luna and a different unit with Abyssal Fiend and Aades, essentially. So try that for yourselves. It might work, it might not work, I don't know. It's just something I thought of after like thinking about all the different scenarios in my head. But I do think right now she's kind of unplayable, like to beat if the other person's cleaving with her. Like it's really, really hard to counter it. You need to have really good speed gear, or just I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, I hope I clarified some stuff. Let me know if you have any other questions. Again, yeah, just leave them in the comments. This is almost longer than my RTA video. But yeah, if you enjoy these analysis videos, let me know. Alright, see you guys.